hit it for more seconds. Do you like my new section?
I do. I like that those ones.
Yeah.
So, I didn't order any.
I can't wait for summer ones because they have this pink tip one. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Independence Today. I'm Maria, the IL specialist here at CRI, and
I am Rob.
there you go. And today we have Beth back for part number 2 on autism.
Yes.
Did you want to go into like what we're going to do today?
Absolutely. This is the second part of our autism special. And today we are focusing on the myths and like stereotypic views of autism, which really aren't true. And I think there's still a lot of people who cling to these because they still don't really understand what autism really is.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
we are here again with Bethany Callie.
Yay.
And Bethany, enlighten us.
Yes. What's the first one you want to go over? Like a myth that people are like, oh, people don't want to get too close, or they get scared. Or...
So we can go over the first one, which is like autism is a disease, right?
Yeah.
So what we said last time was that it's a neurodevelopment disorder, right? It's not an illness. It's not a disease.
Mhm.
And so it's just how someone's brain works. It just works differently, right? People with autism interact differently with the world. So not an illness,
Okay.
not a disease, anything like that.
Okay.
Right?
What's another good one?
Let's see. We have a list here too.
I like this one too.
So the mental illness. So I know like last time I briefly mentioned about the DSM,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And for those that know, like the DSM also contains information about different mental illnesses. So, but there are subcategories within there. So autism is not a mental illness.
Right.
Right? And you can think of it too as like there's medications to treat mental illnesses,
Mhm.
right? There is no just plain treatment for autism, right?
Right.
So one of the things that we do is that like to lessen the severity of maybe some autistic symptoms, we work on skills and how to handle it so that we lessen those symptoms.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Um,
That makes sense.
And I think the problem with seeing it as a mental illness, then you sort of get into all of those stereotypes, like these people are dangerous because they're
Right.
mentally ill,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I told you before we opened up here that my first exposure to autism was literally seeing the movie Rain Man. I didn't know anybody on the spectrum. I knew nothing about it. And I think Hollywood doesn't do it very much justice the way they do in a lot of conditions.
Right. And that's the thing with autism is that it's a spectrum, right?
Right.
So like before, it's like when you meet one person with autism, you meet one person with autism.
Right.
So, and then it is really hard to, like just see like a movie, or if you just know one person and that's what you base your experience on,
yeah.
of, right? And that's why it's also super important just to get to know people,
Mm-hmm.
like.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Obviously get to know someone
Well-
for themselves.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Well, you said last time, and I think it was a great point, that no two are alike.
Mhm.
So really, there are no real common traits, quote unquote, to all people on the spectrum.
Right, yeah, there are characteristics and not everyone has that.
That's right.
Like, I mean, you can just think of like, you're, Northern European descent, right? So I have blonde hair and blue eyed, but my brother has the same genes, parents as I do, and he's darker complected.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of genes, is it more targeted to people who are born male or female?
Right,
Or
so, I think I read like it's 4% of boys are diagnosed with autism compared to 1% of females.
Yeah.
Okay.
So some of that has to do more with the social aspect and how females will do more masking
Their
of
feelings.
and of their where they struggle, or they'll try to
hard
emulate
for them to
more about.
express it. And then when you say masculine, like they keep that inside,
Right.
they don't want to show anyone. But
Yeah.
males, they're very vocal about what's going on, right?
So in terms of gender, there may not be as big a difference as we think there is.
Yeah.
Right,
Okay,
but
okay.
overall, yeah, males end up getting diagnosed more than females,
Okay.
so.
Okay.
Huh.
What's another myth?
Yeah.
We're on a
All
roll here.
right,
Yeah.
right. So we were just talking about diagnosing, right? And so, one of the things that we hear a lot of is like it could be an epidemic, or there's so many more people being diagnosed,
Mhm.
right, with autism now than there was before.
Mhm.
Without going into causation or anything like that of autism, like I just mentioned earlier, the DSM changed the definition, combined different diagnoses before. So like Asperger's used to be its own autism,
Right.
pervasive
Right.
developmental disorder was
All the
also
sub-levels.
right, and so they put them all together. So if you spread out your numbers before,
Yeah.
right, and then you put them all together, you're going to have a
Of
bigger
course,
number,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that's one
So it
of
looks
them,
big and
right?
scary, yeah.
We're also more aware.
Mhm.
So,
Sure.
like, I was thinking back to even, like, when I was in school, how many years ago? Like, we were,
Yeah.
I'm not that long ago, right? Because I'm not that old. But,
I feel you.
right?
That's for another show.
Right? But, like, there weren't. I mean,
Yeah.
and now it is, we just have a greater recognition of what it is, too. Right? Medical providers are much more knowledgeable, right?
Yeah.
So, and then there have been new rules too. Like in the past, healthcare providers weren't allowed to diagnose a person with both autism and ADHD. And that has changed, and now they can diagnose them with both. So, it's just not picking one
Okay.
or the other.
Well, I was wondering along those lines, how big a problem, if it's a problem at all, is misdiagnosis?
So I want to say overall, like it's better if someone is diagnosed younger so that they can have early intervention
Sure.
and start working on skills, right?
Okay.
I'm working with people who have just been diagnosed with autism within the past 5 years.
Okay.
So, I think because we are more aware now, there's going to be more,
Mhm.
diagnosis. I don't know. I don't really have a lot on
What's
this
your-
diagnosis.
What's your
but-
favorite thing to work on with someone, like socially, financially, or like goal setting, or even helping them find out what goal they want? What do you like to do?
So it really depends upon the person,
Mhm.
and what their
They
needs
need,
are,
yeah,
right?
sure.
But like some of the, the best things, like I've worked with a gentleman and we got him out of a really bad home situation.
Mhm.
And now he's living with support. But he is doing things that he said that he could never do
Mhm.
Right.
before. And it's something as simple as like washing his own hair,
Oh,
which is
yeah.
something like,
Simple, but a big deal for some people.
and it's,
yeah.
like just helping people like find who they are and knowing that they can achieve more,
Yeah.
than
And
and
what's
do things that they haven't been able to do.
right, and what's exciting about that is you achieve something new, which raises your self-esteem, gives you more confidence. So you want to do something
Something
else.
Right,
So it's kind of
yes.
like a
Yeah.
snowball rolling down a hill.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
then
yeah.
they really, it builds upon itself, and just taking those steps and just being able
Progress
to
of
do.
it all, from
Yeah.
start to finish.
Is there an area where you've seen greater success overall? I know everyone's an individual.
Right.
But in your experience, have you seen that socialization, we have more success in that area than this area? Or have you not seen it at all?
Just with
I mean, a
the
difference.
particular people that
Yeah.
I work with, right now or I've worked with recently, is that there's usually the occurrence of like mental illness too, and when it works together, like and when
Right,
they
yeah,
have,
both.
both,
Yeah.
right? And that once we're really able to work through the mental health part of it, we can, like, everything just kind of comes together,
Okay.
right? So, whether it just be like anxiety and being able to leave the home,
Right.
you know, anything like that, when we're able to get that connected, you know, then we
Okay.
can really help work on like the skills within autism,
Mhm.
you know, like that are affected that way. So,
Okay.
I'm sure it's very satisfying work for you, and that's got to be something that, because I know nobody in the helping professions is in it for the big bucks,
yeah.
unless you have your own practice.
Right, yeah.
So there has
no,
to be other things, you know, that feeling of achievement and seeing somebody who was here and now they're there, you know, they're working a job or they're doing whatever.
Yes.
That's got to be extremely satisfying.
It really is, and for like my participants to trust me too,
Sure.
you know, and
That's a
so
big
that
trust,
yeah,
yeah.
they put that faith
Mhm.
in me that I can help them find resources, or I can help them, or just to be that
Someone to
support.
talk to first.
Yeah.
You know
That's
what I
right.
mean? So
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah.
If people had questions for you, like how could they reach you? Like
Yeah, so they can
Things
call
like
me
that.
here at CRI, so I'm usually here Monday through Friday.
okay.
So sometimes I'm on the road, but I'm usually here.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay. Well, thank you, Bethany. This has been very informative
Yeah.
and very educational. And I need to tell you that with your glasses on,
Very
you look
smooth.
extremely cerebral
Thank
and
you.
studious,
Yeah.
even
Thank you.
more so than without them.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well,
Thank you.
join us for next time. We will have another podcast in like a week or two. Okay.
We are having UPMC, I believe,
Yeah.
and it's the LUHU program. Now, that's an acronym for Let Us Help You.
Yeah.
So tune in for that, guys.
Sounds good.
See you next time.
Bye.
Give me 1 second.